I know, we still have snow on Castle Lake. It's starting to melt around the edges. Michael fell in. He got his foot in the water. But anyway, I was getting nervous, but he's just great. He's such a great outdoor person. It's so much fun when we do this work. My topic is how to be divinely natural, or you're naturally divine. You know, when you see pictures in such a big cities, cement, metal structures and such, lights flashing, all these people with their electronics, you've got all of these with all of the odors, everything involved in that. To me, that would be hell. Is that, you know what I mean? It'd be devoid of nature, devoid of the natural. We're completely dependent upon the constructed, the built, and using then the elements of the earth, and then taking from that natural beauty so that can then melt it down and redo it to make then these buildings and such that are completely, like for most of the way we live, is for convenience, so to speak, or not, but as we can notice that there's so many problems with all of this housing and buildings and structures and stuff. And it seems like so much of all of this energy is going to fighting, controlling, surviving, and getting some 5 cents gratification of some kind for a moment of pleasure, even if that's the pain of someone else. Most people don't realize and look to see what they're really participating in, and what they're part of. And once we start looking, it's so guilt producing and shameful in so every way, if you really tell the truth about it, about the lack of compassion and really caring and operating from our divine nature, which is to work and endeavor for the welfare of all living entities, with no one left out. So in that sense, people say, oh, you can't have it all good like that all the time. You have to have some evil because the opposite of good is evil. Well, no. Yes, in a duality, it appears as good and evil, but as whoever what they say is good. And then you got the religion or the church will tell you what is good, maybe, or maybe not, or at least what you're supposed to believe. Or so will then the culture, the community, the group, the government, or whatever it is, all going to tell you who you are, what you are, blah, 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 so that you're going to be cultured, which is another scientific term for a bunch of amoebas in a petri dish seeing what they're going to do. How they're gonna, what's going to happen with these beings. And for the most part, people are experimented on to see what are they going to do, how are they going to do this and that. Why? Why is people so interested? Well, it's in the interest of helping people. No, it isn't. And the key is, when we come back to nature, the way to actually tune into being naturally divine or divinely natural is to give yourself the retreat, to treat yourself again to peace and harmony and nature, because then you're reconnecting with yourself. I used to walk on the beach and get those negative ions when I was first willing to really control my mind. And I didn't have the knowledge I had now that I had then, but it was a step in that, in the practice. I would chant my mantra for 3 hours And I would do a 2-mile walk between the two piers of Santa Monica and Marina del Rey, kind of in there, and that take that long walk, and it was I forgot that, or it was the other one that was that. Oh, well, anyway, that would help me center myself and help me keep my mind. And I didn't understand and know at that time truly that the mind is not your best friend. It's your worst enemy. It's the greatest terrorist weapon and control device ever possible. And what it does is then it causes us to bypass our choices, conscious choices most of the time at some level, or to control how we make our choices by what we believe, what we've been taught, and all of this. So then we're being divinely unnatural because we're not being who we are, and in that there is this false fake reality that we then identify with, and we're afraid we're going to lose, that we've got to protect and maintain, and we got to keep it going. We got to come back here when we leave our body, because what else? We got to reconnect with everybody. Sentimentality. And then believing all this, promoted by movies, television, people's stories, publishing, and whoever said, just to actually form opinions. And then opinions that after a while become known as truth. That's absolute. And that's the way it is. No. So what we're making absolute is the outer realm, the words, the thoughts, the concepts, the beliefs, when we're absolute. That's all relativity, you see. So relativity then takes the original and perverts it, and then puts them on two sides of the coin of materialism, you see, which is now they want to combine consciousness and this man to this and that. These people, whoever they're doing, this is what they think and all that. This is it's what you want to be, you. And to be divinely natural is like take advantage of nature. That's why I offer retreats here. It's so great. And we use the out of door and easy, nature walks, people, or more difficult, depends on the level of where some people are and in their physical body and such. The opportunity to go barefooted, and we offer the great kind of food, natural, good stuff, and then being able to really go in depth and eliminate all of that falsity and really have a handle on that, so that no longer controlled by all those thoughts. But my chanting all that time actually helped me, because I needed to keep concentrating on the chanting. But after a while, that you just kind of do it and you're not really present. The whole thing isn't how long and how much you chant, because that mantra, whatever, most people the mantras are, I ain't got no money mantra, I'm not good enough mantra, I'm gonna die mantra, nobody likes me mantra, I'm gonna lose it all mantra, I'll go to hell, I'll go to heaven, mantra, forget it. See, in the ancient Vedas, when they did the mantras, because sound does produce, so the mantras were so perfect, they would produce that result because the mantra was in that higher frequency, and as the frequency goes through the dimensions, it appears in the reality as what we would call a form or a situation or the event. Yes, exactly. It was manipulating material nature, and that was part of that. And so a lot of what the Vedas were about. But anyway, so then the ultimate then is the more we can be in tune with nature, and then get in tune with our own nature, and let go of and eliminate all of the objections to who we are, all of the deprogramming, all of the lies, to know how to do that and get rid of that, is that you will always be doing what you need to do to maintain whatever it is that you need to maintain, you see. And that it's like even divine guidance knows how to do that, you see, even though it's purely divine. So now you're in the groove. And as you're in that groove, you get to be the witness and experience it. But that comes from and I know for myself how much I used to go on retreat, and I'd go to the mountains, or I would go to a beach, or, you know, even the sense of actually being able to relax, to give some time where my mind wasn't completely on what I thought I needed to do, the fear, the loss, the this, the that, cha-cha. Now there's thinking entities and there's knowing entities. And the problem with those who are thinking entities, they've sold their soul. It's gone, because that is in the knowing. So they only have to rely on what they think and what they've learned and what they know, and they think that they know something. The key is, the real knowing is the knowing that everyone has. You don't need a degree for it. You don't need to do anything for it. All you need is to realize and to actualize and to be who we really are. And in that is the greatest freedom. And that is our opportunity now. And to do that, you need to get into, and more, as much as you can, at least, and if you're even in one of these kind of places, it's like, get some plants or something inside to give you also that feeling of nature, and to start calling forth the nature spirits and those sweet divine beings. And I do, you know, certain ceremonies here too, and I use the cow dung and the ghee and offering to the fire. And that actually, for just the blessing and the love, not blessing, but the goodness of all the nature spirits, and acknowledging them. And say, this is what was natural, and this is indigenous people did, and we're in harmony. So then we have to call them savages and say they didn't know anything. This isn't true, because that would then be taking over, making science God. And it's basically a religion based on blind faith. And what it is also money is a religion. It has denominations, 5, 10s, 20s, call it what you want. And it's that church of blind faith. The real faith you want to focus on and put in is the faith you have in yourself. And that is the super soul, Paramatma, God within, Mother, Father, the divine supreme being, not psychopath, not the fear-based, I'm going to get you, God. Do. And guess what? You already have it all. You're already evolved. And I invite you, please share any of these videos with people to help them, because see, all is consciousness. And when people, each of us individuals can get this, and you're then helping to help other people that could use this. And it's also, I found, the way we want to overcome envy is to really help those who help us, and wish others well. And when you know something's wonderful and good, share it, and that's why I share, you see. Whether you take it or not is up to you, but my thing is, yeah, and I feel so good doing this, you see, because it's, yeah, we know it's true, you see, yeah, divinely real, divinely natural. It is natural, in harmony, in nature. Get those feet, the barefoot, I'm getting ready pretty soon. I've already at home, because I don't have the snow around the farm or anything. Yeah. Saw those first couple ground squirrels. I'm telling you. But, you know, hey, a lot of beings are living here, and they're all little peoples. Yep. So, divinely natural. Faith in your divine knowing. An appreciation of your source. Yes, an appreciation of where you've gotten value, and all those just acknowledgement of, yeah, I acknowledge you. Yeah, that you'd even listen and be interested in this. And then share it. Yeah, it's great. You're divinely natural and naturally divine.